welcome back to Records Rebuilds. Today we have a 2002 Camaro. The 2002 Camaro, or the third generation F-body, has a special place in my heart. It's not a particularly desirable car out there. Most of them have probably been destroyed. People didn't care about them too much. Almost from the day this one was built. They discontinued it just afterwards. And that, of course, always hurts car values. But so there's not a lot of nice ones left. This one's in decent shape. The paint's really good. I've owned it for its entire life, and it's been a good car to me. I've got a lot of good memories in it, so it has a really special place in my heart. This one's only a V6, and so it's not even the V8. I think those V8s have climbed a little in value, but this one is not particularly valuable. But I do still enjoy getting out and driving it. Now, enough with the car. I'm here to talk to you today about a rich fuel code and a rich fuel on a specifically, I think, on a GM engine, but it probably applies to most cars. This car had a rich fuel code, and along with the rich fuel code comes usually a lot of other codes. They're very confusing to sort out and to diagnose, and so that's what this video is about today. This car specifically had a rich fuel code, and it was dying. You could tell it was running rich. You could smell the gas, all of that. So, but what I want to take you through is just the steps to diagnose. We always start with the cheapest, easiest stuff to look at first and go from there. Again, you'll have a lot of other codes. You're almost always going to have an oxygen sensor code, but there'll be a plethora of other ones that may or may not be helpful. A lot of those codes can be caused by the rich fuel code. You could even have ECM codes when the computer is not able to adjust the fuel mixture, so it thinks there's a computer problem. So what I would say is, when you have the rich fuel code, you've got to sometimes just listen to your car and do a little adjusting that way. So this car, we had a rich fuel code, and the first thing we want to look at when we do is the mass airflow sensor, the MAF. I would say at the same time, you can go ahead and clean up the MAP sensor as well, the manifold absolute pressure sensor. Both of those sensors look at air coming into the engine, and if they're dirty and reading wrong, you're not going to be able to get the fuel air mixture right. So what I would suggest doing is taking some mass airflow sensor cleaner, like this one, not all that expensive, $6 or $8. Pull those sensors out, clean them up. Be careful when you do. You don't want to damage them, but clean them up. The mass airflow sensor is almost always on the throttle body or right there in front of the intake. And the manifold absolute pressure sensor is obviously somewhere on the intake manifold. So clean those up. That's the first place I'd start. That may fix your problem. If it does, great, you're done. If it doesn't, the next thing I'd look at is just gas. Has your car been sitting? Oftentimes these issues pop up because the car's been sitting for a little while, and maybe something just deteriorated then. So if your car's been sitting, get some new gas in it. Burn out that old gas, suck it out, whatever you want to do. But if your car will run some, get rid of that old gas and get some new gas in it. I'd also say that running some fuel system cleaner is a good bet as well. That's a good, easy fix to start. Take you no time at all. Run some fuel injector cleaner, fuel system cleaner through it. There's a couple ones I've used. One is Seafoam here. My dad likes it really well. And the second is this Techron. It also seems to work really well. From there, if you're still having problems after using these products, then we need to really start the diagnosis. So if possible, lay your hands on a OBD2 reader that'll give you some live data. And that's really useful because you can actually go look at the fuel trim settings within the car, what the computer is telling the engine to do. And you can also look at the mass airflow sensor and the MAP sensor to see if their readouts are normal for the conditions you're in. And so if you can see that those two are normal and everything's running good, Not running good. It's not running good, obviously. That's why we're here. But if you can see that the readouts look good, you know that you don't have to go buy and replace those sensors. I've never once had to replace one of those sensors. I've only had to clean them, and it's fixed problems with the sensors. So I wouldn't just hop to replacing those sensors. If you've got the OBD2 reader that will give you live data, you could tell pretty well that they're working right just by looking at the readouts that they're giving the computer. From there, I would say that you also want to look at the fuel trims. Is the engine pegged out? This car, the engine, or the computer was telling the engine to reduce fuel trim to its max, so it's pegged out. It was trying to reduce fuel trim by 25%, and still the car was running rich. If that's happening to you, that's a decent sign that you've got a fuel system issue. And so when we start talking about fuel systems, there's a number of things to check. This car has a fuel pressure regulator. GM cars, those fuel pressure regulators about this era are known to go bad a little bit. So that's something to look at. We can talk about that in a bit. Other fuel injection problems, other fuel system problems are just the fuel injectors. You could have a bad fuel pump as well, although I don't know that a bad fuel pump would be causing too much fuel. That'd be surprising given that there's also a fuel regulator to help with that. And then bad vacuum can also be a problem. To test these things, I would say I start with the easiest always. And so the first thing I do is I just grab our handy dandy stethoscope. I let the car run. If you can get it to idle, let it run. And put the stethoscope on each injector and see if you can hear them ticking and opening and closing. If you can, it's probably not an injector issue. It still could be, but it's probably not. You also ran the fuel system cleaner through that. That often takes care of injector issues too. But if you can hear it clicking, that means it's not stuck open or stuck closed. In our case, we're worried about stuck open. So if that's the case and it's not that, or maybe you don't hear it clicking. If you don't hear it clicking, I think you found your problem and you need to replace a fuel injector. If you don't hear any of them clicking, maybe adjust where you've put your stethoscope. But if you hear some clicking and not the others, I would replace those, or at least pull them out and clean them. I think if those fuel injectors all click and they seem like they're working good, it's time to move on. I would say next, you want to really look at the symptoms. Your car probably smells rich. You can probably smell fuel. Is it backfiring? Will it idle? This car had a hard time idling. You could get it to idle, but it had a hard time. Then when you hit the brakes hard, it would die. So when we pulled off and checked the mass airflow sensor, we also pulled and went a little further and looked at the intake manifold. And when we looked at the intake manifold, we could see fuel all inside there. If you've got fuel in your intake manifold, I would look at your fuel pressure regulator or a vacuum hose. But in this car, in a lot of GM cars designed in this era, as well as other brands too, there's a fuel pressure regulator, and that fuel pressure regulator is operated via a vacuum hose. And that vacuum hose isn't necessarily bad, but the fuel pressure regulator may have a tear in the diaphragm, and it's allowing fuel to run through that vacuum hose and into the intake manifold. So that fuel we were seeing in that intake manifold was caused by that vacuum hose and by the actual tear in the fuel pressure regulator. So if that's the case, if you got fuel in your intake manifold, go replace that fuel pressure regulator. That will probably fix your problem. Next, just the other vacuum hoses, just inspect them, see if they look good. You can or you can make your own smoke tester as well. You can hook up to the intake, and if there's a vacuum leak, you'll see the smoke coming out. Easily could be the problem. You could replace the hoses. You can also probably spray a tiny bit of starter fluid right on there, and you'll know. On the hose while the engine's running, you'll know. You need to be careful doing that, but you'll know it'll spark up if there's a leak. once you're through with that, if you haven't found your issue, you're still having these rich fuel codes. The next thing I would say is look at your exhaust manifold and look for an exhaust leak. Exhaust leaks usually can be found by looking at the exhaust pipes, the exhaust manifold, and seeing if there's some discoloration in one spot or the other. You might be able to hear it too. So look around for that. Use your power of intuition to try to find that. The last thing I would look at, unless you've got, especially on a V engine where you've got two banks, you want to look at your O2 sensors. Again, I don't think it's going to be an O2 sensor if both banks are lean, or excuse me, if both banks are running rich. If your issue is only on one side and both banks aren't running rich, that's a good place to start on an O2 sensor. There's 3 of them on this car. The ones we're talking about are the ones on the exhaust manifold. So there's one on each side. That helps tell your engine whether or not it's running lean or not, or rich, excuse me. And if you've got just one code, you need to look at that O2 sensor. There's plenty of videos out here online, and you need to look at your exact car, but you need to test for bad ground. You just need to test that it's working properly. They're pretty simple sensors. They don't go bad often. I've never had one go bad. Pain in the ass probably to change because they're down there in the exhaust manifold where there's so much heat, and they get tightened in there pretty fast, or they get stuck in there very fast. So that's the last thing I'd look at. I know people see sensors and they often want to start at O2 sensor, but when you're looking at a rich fuel condition, I think the O2 sensor is the very last place you want to look. Again, on this car, the fuel pressure regulator actually ended up being the problem, and it fixed the issue. It's running wonderful now. It starts up now like the day it was new. When you've got a rich fuel condition, sometimes it'll start up fine when the car's been sitting a while, but usually after it's run, it'll sit there and crank, because the engine's flooded. And if the engine is flooded, that's a telltale sign of probably a fuel system problem there, and not just a sensor problem.